Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard and welcome back to Stacia. So last episode, of course, we got our turbine and our reactor set up and fuel being created. I did add our ultimate chemical tank here. It's kind of a buffer. Maybe eventually that'll fill up. We'll see. Maybe once we add speed upgrades and stuff, though I doubt it. At least not until we expand the system. But now today what we're going to do is get all this stuff set up so that it can run with some redstone control. And we are going to be pushing on to making the Polonium pellets, and that way we can make our Emmy Controller, and then probably down the road make ourselves a mecha suit, because the mecha suit's going to be kind of sort of the end-all be-all armor, probably, because it's kind of like draconic armor in that it runs on energy instead of actually having an armor value. Since we have some nifty mods that allow for basically infinite wireless recharging on the player, we can have basically infinite damage immunity at that point. So, but okay, so I've added this little area here. We're going to get into that in just a moment. And I made up a bunch more ultimate pressurized tubes, some solar neutron activators, pressurized reaction chamber, a whole lot cheaper than prepping for the last episode, to be sure. And what we're going to do, we're going to start off by let's go ahead and add in our solar neutron activators, just get these in place. And so what we're going to do, we're going to come down, just down through here, I think, and add these in. This may be more than what we need at the moment, but if so, that's fine. And then let's go ahead and clip this off. This isn't going to be visible because we're actually going to have some asphalt running down along through this side. This is more of just like me kind of planning how things are going to go, and we're going to plug all that in. Did I crash? But I crashed. Oh, I didn't. And then we're going to go ahead. There's going to be solar neutron activators on the other side. Now, once again, as mentioned before, you can set these up in the end if you want, because it's daytime all the time. Not a big fan of that personally, because I find it kind of exploitative to do that, but that is an option, I suppose. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to run this out to, say, right in here, and we're going to bring this down and take it under the ground. I have chunk loaded this, so this will be able to run all the time. And we're just going to run these tubes over. This is going to give us a very large buffer as well. And then right here, we're going to run this over and run it up the wall. So now we should actually see one of these getting some nuclear waste right there. And you can see this one here produce some polonium. 1 millibucket of polonium. And I guess the rest of these don't actually have enough to make any polonium at the moment. If you take a look here at the nuclear waste, it takes 10 millibuckets to make 1 millibucket of polonium. Or no, that's plutonium, sorry. 10 millibuckets steel to make 1 millibucket of polonium, though. But it'll build up at a semi-decent rate once we actually start running our reactor. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, well, let's see, do we want to go ahead and plug up this? Yeah, let's plug this up real quick, because I don't think there's any, no, there's no polonium in there. Let's go ahead and put that in, and we're going to disconnect this. And we're going to run this down along through here. And you can see it's got a little bit of polonium in there at the moment. And this is going to run out, let's run it out to here. This will have an ultimate pressurized there, so we're going to go ahead, disconnect those. And just to go ahead and get all of our cables around, let's go ahead and run a line of ultimate pressurized right here as well. We're going to set up our pressurized reaction chamber. Let's see. Well, let me run this out and figure out exactly where we're going to be. And then we'll run to there. Ultimate pressurized reaction here. And we're going to say gases input on the top. That's great. And now if we were to connect this up, we should see that polonium gets sent over Yeah, right there. We have 1 millibucket of polonium. Now this is also going to need some power, so we're just going to put in an ender cell right there. That's going to give that a little bit of power. And then it's also going to need water. And so what we're going to do for that is put in, I guess actually it could go right down here and we could just kind of hide it away. So what we'll do is just run that up like so and set that to extract. So water goes in and polonium goes in, and then it's going to, with the fluorite dust, of course, it's going to make polonium pellets. So we'll set the rest of that up here in just a little bit. Of course, until we get our AE2 channels, we're not going to be able to completely set it up. And it's also going to make some spent nuclear waste. So for that, we're just going to pump that out the front. And we're going to go ahead and say side config gases output on the front. And then we'll just run this down and into this line here. This is where our spent nuclear waste is going to end up. Right there. And then right here, we're going to go ahead and place out our radioactive barrels. We're going to put the first line in right through here. And the reason we're going to have these is for the spent nuclear waste to go in. And actually, I guess I don't need that many cables, because we're going to run it out like this. And we'll add on as we need to. But basically, we just want a big area where our nuclear waste will be able to kind of hang out and just dissipate from these barrels. So we're probably going a little bit bigger than what we need at the moment, but I'd rather go too big than too small, because we will need to get rid of this stuff. So we'll try to stay on top of that as best we can. And this should be just enough barrels to fill that out. There we go. So we kind of have this area just to kind of dissipate all that nuclear waste away. And there we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do, now that that's all set up, kind of the back end of the production, we can go ahead and set up the redstone for this. Now, as mentioned last episode, we're only going to be really reading two different things. We're going to be reading the power, and we're going to be reading the state of this barrel to see if it has a lot of nuclear waste. So we're just going to add in a comparator there, and let me get, I don't have any redstone on me. Let me go get some redstone. And we're going to go ahead and say a power of 3 for this. Redstone coming out there. So if it goes above a power of 3 in this with nuclear waste, which actually still leaves it with a fairly large amount of a buffer, but if it goes above a power of 3, go ahead and emit a redstone signal out of this. And we'll have that actually go into a repeater just to make sure that it makes the tower far, because I don't know how far I'm gonna take it just yet. So we'll have a repeater there, and then that comes out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in an AND gate. And this AND gate is going to set right here. So if it gets a signal on this line, and this line, then it can emit a signal out this line. We're going to put that there, and then we're going to put in redstone there and there. We're going to put in our ender cell setting right there with a comparator, and this comparator is going to be set. We're going to say, what's our setting for our diesel engines? Because I want this to run at a larger threshold. That's a power of 10, and so we're going to say if it, and actually I need to reverse this. Yeah, 1 second. Say power of 13 for this, but I actually want this to be reversed and that to be reversed. So what we'll do is we'll put in cobblestone and redstone, and then have our redstone come up out of there. So that way, if this gets above that limit and it can emit the redstone, then it's going to shut off this redstone torch. Let me actually move this back by 1. Let's do it like that. We could go with something fancier for redstone, but honestly, vanilla redstone works just as well, in all honesty. Then we'll put the AND gate in there. So you can see it shut off that little torch there because it does have a redstone signal at the moment. We're going to put redstone in there, redstone in there. Now right here, we're going to put in another redstone torch. Then we're going to put in redstone there. And we're going to put in a comparator setting here. This comparator is going to be attached to our ender cell. And we're going to have it go over to an analog lever. This analog lever is going to be set up to, let's say, a power of 13. You can see that when it's a power of 9, it's got enough power and it shuts off this, which in turn would not emit a redstone signal out of this. But if we turn this up to where we want it, which is a 13, we want this to run at kind of a higher priority than our diesel. So if this can upkeep power for our base, then let it do it because it's producing polonium, you know. But it's going to, whenever it doesn't have enough power in here, it's going to allow this to run, and the redstone signal comes out. And then at this point, we could just use redstone alloy wire or something like that, but we're just going to do it with our wireless redstone transmitter. So we're going to put that in, and then we're going to put in our wireless redstone receiver up there, GPS card. Oh, and actually before I do that though, let me grab our configurator, and we're going to right click this, and we're going to put this to activation, because there's a few different things here. These red ones are readings that you can get. So if you want to set up a fission reactor logic adapter to emit redstone, you can have it set to emit redstone when the reactor reaches dangerous temperatures, when it has excess waste, when the damage to it is critical, or when you have insufficient fuel for it. But we just want activation. That's all we care about for this, because temperature isn't going to be a concern for us. Waste is red somewhere else for us. Damage, that's bad. We don't want damage. And insufficient fuel isn't really actually much of a concern. That would be for something if you had like a toggle system to feed it fuel, would be something like that. Or if you just wanted to like have it turn on, say, backup power or something like that when the fuel gets low or something. Then we'll put that in there. And then we're going to drop this in. There we go. And if we pop up now, we should see it. Oh, whoops. We should see that it's activated now. So if we take a look, you can see it is heating up now. And we take a look over here, it's producing steam from this. Now, one thing that we can do, we can open this up now and we can increase the burn rate. So you can see that the max burn rate is 1 millibucket per tick. So we're going to set that to 1, turn this up, and this is basically going to start burning that water a little bit faster, producing more steam for us, and in turn producing more power. So you can see right now we're producing 5.7 thousand FE per tick. And if we pop down, we will probably see power steadily going up. I don't know if the diesel engines are running. I mean, that's really not a ton of power, but it actually might be enough that our diesel engines can take a break at this point. Yeah, because this is actually going up. Of course, we're not running the miner and stuff at the moment, so that would be why. Oh, whoops. I keep doing that. But if you notice, this isn't having too much issue. If it does run out of fissile fuel, it'll just basically shut off. So there's really not much of a concern there. You can see steam's not really going anywhere, it's just hanging out. Water, not really going anywhere, just hanging out. And if we take a look over here, we will probably see some polonium building up. There we go. Once it gets 1,000 millibuckets, it will create our very first polonium pellet. But it does need... Let me actually get some fluorite here. It's going to be a little bit tricky until we get everything automated for this. I might even set up ender tanks just to make our lives a little bit easier. And I don't actually have a crusher beyond the one that I've got for automation. I guess I could use that one for right now, because it ain't like it's going to send it anywhere. Okay, give me that fluorite. There we go. And this will be enough to allow it to create a full stack of polonium pellets, which is actually quite a bit, to be honest. So we can just drop that into there. And then when that polonium builds up, it'll make our polonium pellet. Everything looking good. Okay, how are we doing on power? Yeah, we're actually building up a decent amount of power at the moment. This will probably be toggling on a bit and kind of just passively making polonium for us, which will be good. And then my diesel won't even have to run. Okay, I think I've got everything that we need for the Emmy Controller. I'm going to have to kind of rig this for a moment. Because it's the only one I have set up, but I'll get to that. Let's take a look. I took out our fluorite so we could make our first polonium on camera. Oh, we're still at 698. This takes a little bit to build up, to be sure. It's toggling right now because it looks like we are filled up on power. Yeah, so it's toggling slightly. We could set this up with a timer, but unlike the immersive engineering stuff, I don't know of this actually losing power because the way that it works, you know, it toggles this on and off, but the steam still goes over here and makes power. So you can see it kind of flipping on and off a lot at the moment as that power goes up and down. So this is going to take a little bit to run, but that's okay. I need at least 2 of them. But that'll give me time to rig that up for one last craft. The controllers for XNet, they're not going to lose their settings if I remove these. So let me break this off. We're going to be crafting this first one manually anyways, and then I'll be setting up some more of these. I just didn't, to be honest, I just kind of got kind of lazy there towards the end. It's like, I don't really want to set any more of these up manually. I want to have AE2 to do it for me. So there we go. And we'll go ahead and lay out the Emmy Controller, what we have of it right now. It'll be most everything. Now bear in mind, when it comes to moving those polonium pellets, we're going to want to wear our hazmat suit. So just kind of don't forget about that if you're going to be moving those manual. Now once we have full automation in place, of course we won't have to be moving those manual, but for now we're going to be moving it manual. But there's everything except for the polonium pellets. Let's take a look. Oh, we're getting so close. Okay, I'll be back here in a minute once that gets built up, and then we'll craft our 2 polonium pellets. I've got to go AFK for a second anyways, so that'd be fine. And I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to make ourselves, been working on a battery here. Be a little bit easier once we have full AE2. But we're going to make ourselves a Nitro Battery, which adds 140 million Fe storage. And let's just add this in. This is going to increase the buffer substantially and allow this to run for a lot longer. Now, I know the diesel engines are probably going to kick on here in a moment. So they're going to help a little bit. But now we can store, what is it, 241 million Fe. And I'm working on another battery. I'm just waiting for some more diamonds to run at the moment. But we have 1,622 polonium at the moment. Let me grab my hazmat suit just to get us kind of ready here. And let's go ahead and add in one of these fluorite dusts. So that's going to run, and it's going to take 1,000 of this polonium. It's going to make that spent nuclear waste, which is junk to us. So it's going to send that over to these. Yeah, you can see 23 millibuckets. And that's going to slowly dissipate out of these. Very, very slowly, but it should be fast enough, I think, that it shouldn't be much of a concern for us. It should go away. So 706, 708. It's going up a lot faster now, so that's good. Okay, now we should have everything that we need for our other Nitro Battery. So there's that. And we'll just pop over, put that in. So shift right click, boom. Now we can store 381 million Fe within our ender cells. About time we upgraded that. I was just kind of holding out for AE2, but I did set up a chest here that can extract. So for example, if we throw in fluorite, it gets pulled out and goes into here. So that way I can kind of stockpile a little bit. And we do have enough polonium now to get our second polonium pellet. Now at this point I want to grab one of these. And these actually are going to be used for a lot of things. Supercharged coils, we've got the vein mining unit, the Q drive, SPS casings. Most of the units for the mecha suit are going to be in here. Exporters, importers, modification station for the mecha suit, dashboard. Most of the stuff for the QIO is in here. Portable QIO dashboard, QIO drive array. Yeah, and then the Emmy Controller, of course. Oh, it's Celestial Altar? Oh, whoops. Didn't even notice. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to slot in our polonium pellets. We're just going to slot these in, like, say, right here. So we've got one in there. And then we're going to set this to auto output. So we're going to say side config. Left side is output. Auto eject is on. So it's going to throw those polonium pellets into the white ender chest. And that way they just get automatically sent over into our storage. Okay, so since that Celestial Altar, I didn't have to change this actually. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix that back. So that can be back set up for our turbines and other things that use that cross pattern. And then I guess we will just head over to the Celestial Altar. I don't know if how much starlight this is going to take. But hopefully we have enough. I should think so, but I don't know. We'll go ahead and lay that out. And then let's pop over. I guess I could just turn it night. But let me go ahead and throw in that fluorite. Let's take a look. How much... yeah, see, we got 40 millibuckets, 74, 40, 40, 40. Okay. And you can see our solar neutron activators having no issue whatsoever keeping up. Basically, the main reason we want this buffer over here is just in case maybe day-night cycle gets locked again and I don't get online immediately or something like that. It's going to keep our reactor from exploding because we definitely don't want that. But you could see water still setting after some time running. Water still setting at a comfortable spot. Temperature still good. Steam still setting about the same. So none of that is really a concern with our current setup. We can just run that polonium. It's not really dangerous as long as it's properly set up. So, oh wow, this takes like no starlight whatsoever. Hardly. Let's go ahead. Boom! Quest complete. Emmy Controller. That is an exciting thing. So we got that now, which unlocks kind of a lot of this stuff. We can go ahead. There we go. Dense covered cable. Yeah. And I can go ahead and switch my gearbox since I don't have those polonium pellets anymore. And those are just going to automatically go into storage for us. And now what we can do, come out to the middle here. I haven't really decided if I want to have this a cyan glass or not. But for now, we're just going to put our Emmy controller right there. We only have the one at the moment. We will expand. They're actually going to be really easy to expand on because, of course, machine casings, all that stuff, super easy. All this stuff, super easy. Polonium pellets now passive. By the time, I log off overnight, come back, we're probably going to have a fairly good amount of polonium pellets. To the point that we might do the next episode on the mecha suit. so we can go ahead and get one of those, because honestly I think we'll have plenty of polonium pellets. I would say probably about 30 or 40 to comfortably get into the mecha suit, which I think is very, very reasonable for us. But that is something that's definitely going to be coming up before too long, if nothing else. Probably stock this up with some fluorites. Yeah, it's getting kind of close now to making another one, but it's going to start toggling here shortly. These are still running. But now I just got to get all this laid out, set up, and we can start plugging up for like dense cables. So I'm going to start working on that. I'll probably do a lot of it off camera. I think we've covered all the basics of AE2 between this and between my Enigmatica series as well, because we covered like quantum linking and stuff on there like just the other day. So I'll probably set up most of this off camera and basically just get this ran out and get our current sub networks converted over into one main network. You know, that's one nice thing, is we already have a lot of automation in place, a fairly large amount of recipes. Some of these are already filled out, like some of our mechanism stuff. Also, for prepping for this episode, you can see that this is filled out with gears. This one actually doesn't have anything because haven't actually used rods for much of anything, at least what I didn't already have prepped for. Aluminum wire is the only one in there, but then a number of plates there. Alloys are filled out, and yeah, I've been kind of struggling with channels, of course. So now I can kind of push into a fully fledged Emmy system, which is quite exciting, and kind of start figuring out how all this is going to be laid out. So but anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. It might be a little bit short, but I think it's going to be setting kind of nice on time. But we conquered what we set out to do. Oh, it's such an exciting moment. And let me say, dense cable is not any different in this pack, right? I haven't really looked at it, I don't think. No, it takes Fluix Emmy dense covered, which is 4 of those, which is that in wool. Okay, that is fine. I do kind of miss the conversion for the smart cable into the dense smart cable, because I actually preferred that instead of having to make the dense covered cable and have a recipe for that when I never use it. But yeah, that's okay though. And we'll have to see. I may end up setting up a wool farm, because I don't think this is really going to cut it. Just the one spiderweb sapling that we've got for the amount of wool that we're going to want. But we may turn our attention over to a wool farm before too long. We'll see. But yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.